Hello and welcome to the Motorsport Files. It's good to be back. How are you doing today?
I'm all right, mate. Thank you very much. How are you?
Well, what did you think of the race? I think we should just get straight into it, to be honest.
A lot of people have said they really enjoyed it. A lot of people said it was fun. I had to watch it twice to prepare for today, and I still can't remember most of what happened. I thought it was pretty forgettable, which might be a controversial thing to say. I don't know. I guess we'll find out. There were some really good things that I think we can talk about. I don't think it was the most exciting race that we've had, and I don't think it'll be the most exciting race that we're going to have this year either. So let's go back a little bit before the race. We had a 5-week break, and during that time, obviously I gave Stefano Domenicali a bit of a hard time in the last F1 show, and tweaks were made. In the sprint and the race, it has helped. So yes, the racing was closer, the super clipping and the yo-yo overtaking was a lot less, but it is still there if you look. First 3 races of the season, it was Mercedes and Ferrari that were yo-yoing, particularly the teammates of Ferrari. It seems that's now McLaren and Ferrari. So it's nice to see that McLaren have made some gains as well. But yeah, during that time period, a lot of the teams have made some major upgrades, not least McLaren. And it has shaken the pack up. What do you think to the shake-up?
I think the shake-up's kind of incredible on McLaren's part. I mean, they're actually now, maybe even a championship contender. I think the other side of it is Aston Martin, for the first time, have actually finished the race. So it's good to see they've got a working car till the end. However, I was watching the race, and it was really nice to see that I think the entire grid at one point was about 35 seconds from first to last place, which is amazing. I think these rules have actually done what they set out to do, unfortunately. I didn't notice as much super clipping as much. They went from like the 8 megajoules to 5 megajoules. That's really helped. However, it's still the issue of I didn't really enjoy the race. The first couple of laps were, I think, what everyone saw was amazing. I think that was one of the most exciting parts. And then the last lap was amazing with all this Charles Leclerc spin. That was quite interesting and shook it up a little bit. But generally speaking, in the middle, I think I spent most of my time waiting for the rain. I think at the start it said going to rain on lap 25. There's a little bit of a drizzle. And then the next thing I know, I'm waiting for lap 54, and there was still no rain, really. The only issue of them not keeping the cars on the ground, like I know Max was struggling, was because of a wrong strategy call, and it was just tyre wear. But even when they were doing the pit stops, there wasn't much shake-up. And it's when a lot of people tell me, why do you watch Formula One? It's just cars going around a circle. And Miami was basically that in my eyes. It's a very forgetful race.
So Max dropped it lap 1. Very rare mistake from Max. I actually thought he'd been tagged, but he just dropped it on his own merit, didn't he? Which he was quick to admit to. Fair play to him. And he made some pretty spectacular dives to carve his way through the pack, actually. So I'm not a Max hater. I think he did pretty amazing. Yes, he made his little error, but I think he did pretty well. And to be fair, they rolled the dice sticking those hards on for as long as they did. And it nearly worked. It nearly got him there, but ultimately he did. He ended up dropping back down the field to midfield again. But that's just the way the cookie crumbles, to be fair. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I think what is important, what's nice to see is the fact that they've brought their own Macarena wing.
It is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, there was us thinking it was just Ferrari, and were we ever going to see it? And then out of nowhere, we have two. So I'm loving that. Really
it's also
great.
Vastly different, though. Like the size of the wings is incredible. Like they know something, and Ferrari knows something, and I want to know which one's better. Like, does it actually work? Is it getting any gain? And what are the other teams doing?
I guess if it ends up working, then they'll all be doing it. Yeah. I think, is it Red Bulls? I actually forget which way around this is now. I think it's Red Bulls that actually rotates further. It's like 270 degrees or something. It's slightly different, and I believe it goes the other way round as well. Correct me if I'm wrong. But it's interesting that they have both independently, because this is the other thing. They haven't copied each other. So one hasn't copied the other. They've come up with it on their own, which is really interesting. And to see it in the race, I think is brilliant. Seeing innovation like that is what this sport is really all about. So that's amazing. But other than that, I think their pace increase is genuine. Before, in the first three races, they were pretty much a midfield team with Red Bull. And I do think they have made gains forwards. So much so that I think they are, I probably have to say fourth best, which is a little bit better than where they were. Yes, I know they finished fifth, but I think they're on average about the fourth best team. Notwithstanding Hadjar's crash, obviously, which I think, again, it's a street circuit. It's one of those things, isn't it? He clipped the curb, he got too greedy, and he paid the price and broke his suspension. It's one of those things. But I think Isaac has done enough now to show that it was just an isolated error.
It's just one of them things that happens eventually. If you go around 1,000 corners, you're going to knock into one. I mean, it reminded me of 2019 Baku with Charles Leclerc when he went into the castle turn.
Yeah.
It's just unfortunate. I would have loved to have seen him finish the race just to see where he ended up in that mix-up. Because I think him crashing out probably determined what Verstappen's strategy might have been, as then he was the only car running. And I think it'd be really good to see him. Like, he's definitely, I don't even want to mention this stupid Red Bull curse anymore because it doesn't exist. He's really one to watch out for. And I just saw the absolute anger and frustration when he was constantly slapping the wheels, slapping his head. He knew what he did wrong. And it's just one of them things, like, it happens.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing I'm going to mention about the old Red Bull curse was it was the old regs anyway. We're in a totally different car from scratch. So that's yesterday's news anyway. Yeah. He's done enough as Isaac, I think, to prove that there is a genuine battle here between the two. If they make progress and they develop that car even further to a point where they're fighting for podiums on a regular basis, it could be actually a really interesting season later on in the year. I like the fact that the regs have changed and that super clipping has been minimized and the yo-yo artificial overtakes seem to have been minimized. They are there, don't get me wrong. It is still there. Who was it now? It was Ferrari and I'm sure it was Ferrari and McLaren that were doing a bit of the yo-yoing.
Yes, it was
it?
Yeah, it was at turn 17. I think the drivers are getting used to it now, so they were purposely not overtaking each other because they then didn't get the advantage. And it was turn 17 that I think Leclerc kept on getting past and then immediately getting overtaken again. And they started to learn more. So I think the actual strategy and how they're racing is sort of a little bit more defined now. And they're actually realizing where the yo-yo sort of overtakes are and where you can actually make it happen and make it stick, more importantly.
That's inevitable. That was always going to happen. I think when Verstappen had to give the place back, was it on Lewis? Yes. He did it in a very specific place just before the detection point so that he could have another go, which was pretty smart.
He also didn't know if Hamilton, so he was on one of the team radios when he was going to give the place back. He actually slowed down a lot, and it was Lewis that took his time to go past, and Max was getting quite annoyed, saying, "What is this guy doing?"
I didn't hear that.
He's playing chess, mate. That's what he's doing.
Yeah. Two multiple world champions going out playing the best. Yeah. I think for me, the main takeaway is that one, yes, they've at least made these changes to the regs and minimized what was already quite a small amount of battery power compared to what it could be. But that it's the direction that they've taken in order to bridge that gap. They have moved it towards the internal combustion engine, which tells me that they realize that there is a problem, despite what Stefano Domenicali has said and others. And the closing up of that gap just shows that I think there is a massive failing with this electrical system that they have in place. There is talk, I think it was Ben Sulayem that's proposed that V8s could come back.
So what he said is he wants V8s coming back as of 2030 with manufacturers' input. However, if they don't want to support it and don't want to put into it, we're going to bring V8s back in 2031. He's sort of suggested like a 1200 brake horsepower sort of mega engine, as it were, which Toto Wolff is all for as well. And leading into this, actually, so Toto has said that Aston Martin are doing so poorly with their engine, he's actually for helping Aston Martin with their engine development more. However, if all the other teams freeze their engine development, who's that going to benefit?
Them, obviously. Having said that, it would have benefited Mercedes had the status quo have remained the same pre-Miami. And I believe that's when it was said. So he's up for helping Aston Martin and Honda with their engine, or in terms of allowing the double development cycle, which they definitely do need. And they need not just on the engine side of it, on the chassis side of it as well, because they need to get over this vibration issue. They need to get over a myriad, actually, of issues. But they do need that chance to be able to catch up to the pack. It saddens me to have to say this, but the slowest lap, Stroll's lap, was slower than the Formula 2. I mean, that is a terrible thing to say.
I think it's also an issue, and I know I might be flogging a dead horse here, but Stroll with the blue flags is a little bit of a menace. If you look at some of the onboards, he was going sort of swaying like that. And I think actually he might get a lot of hate for this, but if you're so far down and going quite slow in the pinnacle of motorsport, you're going to have a little bit of a Sunday drive. You're going to do an Alonso and wave people past.
What's the point in trying? If you don't have the car underneath you to fight, why bother?
Yeah, literally.
It's really going to get... I know these are like the top athletes in the world, but there comes a point at which you know you can't fight. At which point there is a human element of going, well, why should I bother? Especially in a driver who personally I believe doesn't really want to be there anymore. Alonso, I'm not so sure. I think he would relish the opportunity to be able to fight again. As to how much longer that's going to last, I don't know. Possibly the end of the year, if we're lucky. He's got nothing to fight for. He's got nothing to prove. So all of the personnel that Lawrence Stroll has thrown into this team has so far come to nothing. And there is a definite problem there that needs to be identified and fixed, whatever that happens to be, whether it be procedural or something. They need to find it and get to the bottom of it, because until they do, they're going nowhere. They'll just be at the back of the grid. I want to see them do better, and I've said that on previous occasions. I really do. It would be nice to see them fighting for at least something.
Well, it's only 3 years ago they were fighting for podiums and maybe the occasional win. It's just these new regulations where I think if they hadn't have had the hype of Adrian Newey and the hype of stealing all these top execs, we were expecting so much more than they've delivered. And I think that's why they appeared to be doing badly. Obviously, the car is fairly terrible. But I mean, if you look at Cadillac, that you barely see at the moment in the media, you've got Audi, whose car's blown up and no one seems to mind because it's a new team. It's all right. You're wanting so much from Aston because of the Newey thing, mainly. And they've not delivered. So everyone thinks that they're doing rubbisher than they are, if that is even a word.
To be fair, I think it was a major mistake putting Adrian Newey in as team principal. I mean, what the hell was he thinking putting him in as principal? He should have been chief designer, and that was it. That's why you brought Newey in. That's where he should have stayed. I know there was a need for a team principal at that stage, but it shouldn't have been Adrian Newey. That was a mistake.
Well, Adrian Newey only said yes because he genuinely said on an interview that he thought it would be an easy thing and he could do all his design work and all the sort of like supply lines and things alongside it, which I guess maybe you can do if your team will naturally run itself if you've got these top execs, but then something is going wrong, suddenly you're needed there, and then you're taken away from the design, and that's why he then stepped down. It wasn't he was fired. He just bit off more than he could chew.
Yeah. No, he wasn't fired. He was just moved back to where he should have been in the first place.
Yeah.
Which is, I think these team personnel have only just moved, and it'll probably take a good 12 months at least for them to settle into their roles. Look at James Vowles. He's still trying to sort out the team, and how long's he been in Williams, for crying out loud? So these things take time. It's not going to change overnight. I do wonder whether or not we are going to lose the hybrid element. I think we should. I think we should go fully sustainable. I said why in the last one, so I won't double down on that. But should we have a look at what changes the upgrades have made to the overall status quo then? Because, I mean, Merc is still there, still very much a fast car, but they were the team to bring the least amount of upgrades. I think they only brought potentially one compared to the others. McLaren have made huge gains. It's practically, and apparently according to Zach Brown, will be pretty much a brand new car by Canada. And it shows. They are now back where they were back end of last year. Obviously, Norris winning the sprint event, which was really good to see because it's another team back in the fight. I'm really happy for them. Not as good a story for Oscar, though, really, was it?
I think that Oscar's just going through a lot at the moment. To be honest, I think he's given up a little bit in a sense. I know we spoke about it. I know we spoke about last time with the whole Mark Webber thing. I think something's happening behind the scenes, and that's getting to him. And if something gets to you in your personal life or your race life, that does have an impact on how well you do perform.
Absolutely.
I do also think, though, that he is probably the better driver when he's on his A game. However, I think that now that Lando's world champion, he's sort of got that bit of a notch in his belt. He has less to prove now, whereas Oscar basically has to double down at this point. I mean, Oscar had it last year in the bag, I thought, and it just all went to absolute pot after the summer break.
Yeah, it really did. He had, I mean, to be fair, that year, Lando had his period of poor results as well earlier on in the year. He just got on top of it in time. It could have gone either way last year. And to be honest, I think they are on a par. I think they're as even as a pair of drivers really can be. I'm not saying they're the same, but I think in terms of talent level, they are pretty much on a par. He might be struggling, Oscar, a little bit at the moment, just about scraping through, but he did, and he transformed that into a decent result, coming third in the main race. I think it's interesting, and I think as we get into potentially more suitable tracks for McLaren, we'll see them up there a lot more. Antonelli starts, because obviously we have to talk about Kimi. What he's doing at the moment, 3 on the bounce. Amazing set of results. But he's still not getting off the line very well, which for me isn't actually all that much of a problem. Who else do we know that's had a bit of an issue getting off the line of late?
Well, it used to be Lando Norris, actually. Exactly. In the first turn, he used to lose. I think it was like, I can't remember the statistics, but most of his pole positions he lost by turn 1, which I thought is good. But I think with Antonelli, though, I mean, yeah, he completely binned it at the start, but then he actually fought through like an absolute champion. I know that, I can't remember who said it, actually. I think it was Leclerc said that his wheel-to-wheel racing was fairly shocking.
It was Leclerc, yeah.
But it's just you wheel-to-wheel racing, mate. I'm sorry. I get that you have probably some guidelines of keep the sort of speed steady, either go for your corner or hold it, whatever you want to do. But he's how old is Antonelli again? Not 19 or something?
He's 19, yeah.
And he's leading the championship. He's actually not letting it get to him. He's really humble. And he's also slating George at the moment, who's been in Mercedes quite a while. That says a lot about him.
It was funny. The driver press conference afterwards, the McLaren boys' reaction when the reporter brought it up was hilarious. And to Charles' credit, he did retract pretty much all of it. He did say that he was probably too harsh, and it was just in the moment. I don't think Antonelli's wheel to wheel is all that bad, to be honest. He's doing amazing, and he is fulfilling his promise that Toto's put in him. Which, to be fair, as great as that is, and I'm very, very happy for him, but it's really, really upsetting the apple cart at Mercedes. As you said, Russell's been there a while now, and he at one point was the golden boy. He was the one that was coming through the ranks that Toto was bringing through with a championship in mind. He loses Lewis, so he's now the lead driver. He gets a car pre-season, which clearly he knows is a rocket ship. He goes through testing and the first race, which he won. And he's now thinking, yeah, it's my turn. I'm going to go all the way, and this title is mine. Now, 3 races later on the bounce, his teammate winning all 3, he looks really shook up. He looks like the ground has just crumbled underneath him, and it's really playing with his psyche. It's really, really playing with him. And I think that alone was the main reason for his poor performance in Miami. He looks uneasy.
I don't think it's just the driving, though, because I know that he was 0.5 seconds a lap down on average, and he finished for 27 seconds down in total.
Yeah, he was much, much lower.
I think that is maybe he's trying too hard, because you've got to remember in Formula One, if you lift off a little bit before the entrance to a corner, that could cost you 0.2 seconds. It's a slight adjustment, and we're looking at this going, oh, he's not as a good driver, he was slower, all of this. It's minor things. And I think Russell might start to get a chip in his shoulder about it, and he's probably overthinking it, which is maybe leading him to be performing worse.
No, that's what I meant. That's exactly what I meant. This thing with Isaac fulfilling his promise and now winning 3 on the bounce, it's getting to him. You can see he's been very professional and he's not mentioning it, but it's getting to him. You can see it in his eyes. You can see it in his body language when he's doing driver interviews. He looks uneasy. He's had this promise of a title in his mind that this was going to be a walk in the park. And now, above all of the competitors, including Max, it's his teammate that stands at the moment the best chance of taking that dream away from him. And I think that has really shaken his confidence up. As to how long it's going to last before he gets his head straight, I don't know. But it's not looking good for George at the moment.
But I think that's where champions are made. I mean, look at Hamilton and Alonso, this young whippersnapper. If you don't fight for it and you can't get out of that headspace, unfortunately, you're not a champion then. You're a race car driver. And that is obviously the massive difference between the dream and the reality. But I think that if he does, he is such a good driver. I think that he's been overshadowed a lot by the Verstappen era and obviously being teammates with Hamilton. But everyone seems to forget that once Verstappen started winning, George was absolutely slating Hamilton. He won most of the races. He outqualified him, all of this. He can do it, but he just needs to get out of that headspace.
Yeah, I know, absolutely. I mean, his performance in the Williams was mega. You know, the results that he got whilst he was driving for them was what got him into Mercedes. I mean, I know he was on the pathway, but that drive really got him noticed. And at that point in his career, I actually really liked the lad. I thought I was rooting for him. I'm kind of back to that because he's almost not an underdog, but he's on the back foot, certainly. And I do want to see him get his head back in the game and start fighting. They definitely need to bring some more upgrades to Mercedes to maintain themselves at the top of the field, because it's not going to be long before they get overtaken. Despite the finishing results in Miami, which it can be quite circuit specific, to be fair, I think they are still a 1-2 team, kind of a team, as are McLaren. I think they are up there now. And I do believe actually that there's three of them, because I do also think that Ferrari, over the course of the year, will be fighting for those top two places as well. Obviously, somebody's going to lose out, but I think we do have three top teams, which is amazing for the sport.
Now, I reckon that Red Bull could probably pop into the mix, because they've done from midfield to what I would actually consider probably one of the front runners now, if they have both drivers. And I think that's a part where Miami failed on. You didn't have enough strategy calls. That's being in the sense of there weren't enough opportunities. I thought it was a bit of a conga line in a way.
Yeah.
But I think if the track does change, because I actually noticed that when I was watching the Miami Grand Prix, I was thinking you got some really high walls, tight turns, and I think this is the age-old thing of street races, really, because my favourite circuit's Baku. Don't ask me why, I just love it.
Yeah.
But I don't think that has as many downsides as Miami. I feel like Miami's a lot of tight turns. It's just not that fun. It reminds me of, I think it was the Russian Grand Prix. That's very similar as well. It's just, there's not much space for overtaking in comparison.
I think with Baku, though, unlike a lot of the street races, I mean, it is a bit processional in Singapore, but I do for some reason quite like Singapore. But with Baku, it's got inherent dangers in there rather than just concrete walls. It gets thin, it gets tight, it's just so much going on in Baku. It's such a great circuit. I'm with you. I'm a fan of Baku too. And I think a lot of passes can happen in some very unusual places in Baku. Speaking of unusual passes, Max's pass. What the hell? How far back did he come to pull that pass off? That was epic.
Which time? Well, which driver? He was dive bombing everyone like it was Formula One online gaming.
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
It was. It was brave to come back from where he was.
When I was watching the sprint race, I had absolute flashbacks to like 2021 of the Max and Lewis fighting, when he just dive bombed and pushed him wide. But he made it stick, and it was a great thing. But also, I know that Carlos Sainz said that he was a little bit angry, a little bit dangerous sort of thing. But on the post-race, Max said, I've just spun, I'm miles behind, I need to get through these people. He's still got the mentality, and I love to see that, especially driving one of these Formula One cars, but also making it stick and getting a good position from it, even though the strategy call at the end was a little bit poor maybe on his part. But it was so good to see proper racing again. Like, him cutting through the field was what we want to see.
And that's the difference. That is the difference. I'm looking forward to Canada, actually. I'm looking forward to seeing just how close Red Bull can be. I am going to reserve the right to make a decision on that. For me, Red Bull is still the fourth best team. I can't quite put them in that top echelon. I don't think they're quite there to a point where they can fight for the podiums yet. I'm not sure it's going to take them that long. But at the moment, for me, I don't think they're quite there yet. Moving on from Red Bull, then, let's move to their sister team. I didn't see the lead-ups to this, so I'm not 100% sure what happened. But Lawson spearing into the side of Pierre Gasly. Do we know what led to that, or was it just simple, he just outbraked himself? I think he just outbraked himself, but was there anything else involved with that?
So what I was reading on and looking at the onboards, what happened was, I believe Lawson was harvesting energy. So he went a little bit slower, and further into the corner, and it was just a bit of a knock, basically. That's what I could gather by some of the post-race stuff.
Because from what I saw from the replays, he basically speared into the side of Pierre, which acted like a ramp, but it was quite a low impact shunt that just tipped him over and popped him onto his side. Pierre was absolutely fine. So not really anything to worry about on that. If it was just a mistake and it was a technical thing, fair play.
Yeah, I didn't really see much of the Hamilton-Colapinto accident. I know they brushed up against each other, and then halfway through the race, Hamilton has some fairly badly damaged car, which is probably why it wasn't actually as competitive, which I didn't really see it in the race. It was only after looking that I noticed that.
No, not a lot was made of it. I think the coverage is lacking, because we're not seeing half the race. And I think that's part of the problem why it's not as engaging as it possibly could be. And I have no idea what happened with Williams. We didn't see them, really. In fact, a lot of the midfield teams didn't see him. I still don't think I've seen Cadillac go around.
They've got a nice new livery.
Oh, don't talk to me about liveries.
Hey, to be fair, I really like the Toro Rosso one. Oh, not Toro Rosso.
A little bit of retro there, Zach. Wowzers.
So let's start again.
No, leave it in. It's good. I like it, yeah.
But no, I really liked them being yellow because it reminded me of the Jordan days, but it's nice to look at it from like the TV cameras, obviously, and you can clearly see who's who. And that's the first time I've actually noticed that. You know exactly what team's who. You look at the little T-bar, you can see who the drivers are. You don't need to see the helmets. And I thought it was just really interesting, really nice. Just something a little bit different, but that's something I wanted to get onto is the media coverage. So I know previously we've mentioned how rubbish it is and that the battery graphics are rubbish and all of this. I think that it's getting better. I just don't think Miami had the best sort of race, because I was watching the Max versus Colapinto sort of fight, and they had basically media radio messages, which was great. And also I think the battery deployment isn't being used as much now, which I'm actually kind of liking, because I think I'm starting to understand it more, which is a massive U-turn on what I thought sort of like 3 months ago, where I was saying like you need it. But I think now that they've reduced the super clipping, as we've said, I don't think we need to know when exactly they're recharging, because the commentators are actually doing a fantastic job explaining that to your ear rather than you actually visually seeing it.
I like to have it, and I think I did notice on the Channel 4 coverage that there was battery meters popping up. I like to have that information because sometimes the commentators will be saying one thing and you can also look. So you're sort of scanning, aren't you, when you watch F1? So with so much information coming at you, I still think there's a place for the graphics. And I still agree with you. I think we do need that. The biggest peeve I've got at the moment is what they're showing rather than graphics. I like what they're doing at the moment, and I'm still with you on that, but they need to do a better job at covering the whole race, not just the top five.
Yeah, well, I think I noticed that, which is really annoying. So on the main display, you'd have like your front runners, and then you've got the little box on the left-hand side, and occasionally it's like the TV pop-up. I just doubt that, because that's actually what's interesting. That's what people are moving and overtaking, and the rest of them is just cars going down the straight. It's a really low angle, and just seeing back of cars.
They do tend to get that backwards. So the main picture isn't always where the action is happening, and then you're having to look at a tiny little picture-in-picture box. That could be better. And I'm not sure why it isn't, because in previous years, Channel 4 have done an excellent job. You've kind of touched on it. Charles's last-minute spin. I mean, what the hell?
Yeah, I don't actually know what happened. I know that obviously he spun, and that has unfortunately led to the 20-second penalty. So he's gone from 6th to 8th, I believe, and Hamilton now in 6th. But I know he said on the team radio that basically the car's lost all competitiveness, and he sort of went on a bit of a rant to the engineer. And I believe that's to do with software. It's not to do with the setup.
Okay, so what was that the cause of the incident? Because we did wonder whether it was puncture or he'd got...
So that was part of the reason he was struggling towards the end, especially that's to do with the tyre degradation, but also he's struggling with the actual handling, and that's probably why he wasn't up there and fighting for like P2, P3 like he should have been.
Once we get to Canada, which is a much more traditional kind of race, they've got a lot of data for that track. They know it well. Be interesting to see. It keeps happening to Charles though, doesn't it? This bad luck, these spins, these crashes, losing places, bad pit stops. It always seems to come and be on Charles' shoulders. I really feel for the lad. I really do. And I wonder if he's ever going to get that championship with him. I still think he wants it. Obviously, I said that in the last show with Laura, but is he going to stay around long enough? He's not going to be around forever.
I think after this year, looking at the car, he must be thinking a lot of good thoughts, because finally Ferrari have a decent-ish car. And also, they're not messing up that much so far on strategy.
They haven't yet. Right? No, they've done all right so far. Somebody's listened. Yeah.
And they even split the cars for this time for the strategy. And then I know he was saying it might have been the wrong strategy call, which I think pitting him so early probably was, but he handled it so well. Looking at some of the team riders afterwards, though, he was quite vocal about how he didn't agree with that strategy. But he just went on and sort of got with it. And he did, to be fair, all things considered, he actually did really well. I mean, the car wasn't that great. He had no teammate to support him. Max even struggled on the tyre degradation because it was so long, although Max is a little bit different because he basically did a one-stop from lap 12 or something like that.
Yeah. It could have worked, to be fair. It could have worked out for him, but he just lost his tyres at the end. It was worth a punt. It was definitely worth a go.
Shall we do a few predictions for Canada?
Okay, we haven't done this in a while, but let's do it anyway. Let's just throw some names in the hat and let's have a think about who we think is going to come out on top in Canada. What do you reckon? Or do you want me to go first?
I can go. So mine are really simple. So, no prediction. This is wishful thinking.
You're not... No. I'm not letting you pull that one. No, I want top three. And I'll do the same.
Top three?
Yeah, top three.
Oh, right, okay. This is still wishful thinking because... So, P1.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Antonelli. It's a safe option.
That'd be 4 on the bounce.
I'm hoping he can do it. P2 is going to be Norris. And P3 will be Leclerc.
Kind of want to know where you putting Russell in that, actually. Okay. So Canada has always been Lewis's track. Mm-hmm. He goes well. Do I think he's got the car under him for that?
If it rains, he has a good chance. But what's the chance of it raining?
Pretty well in Canada. Pretty well. I don't think he's quite there yet. I would love to put him in that top 3, but I don't think he's there. So I am going to go Norris in first. I think Oscar has still got something to deal with. So I'm not going to put him in the top 3. I'm going to go Norris, Russell, Antonelli. Top 3.
Ah. Yeah. Favourite team, much, eh?
No. I just think that the gains that McLaren have brought, and they're bringing more to Canada, it's already had such a positive effect. If they continue that trajectory into Canada, I think they've got a damn good chance of winning. He won the sprint, let's not forget, this last weekend. So it is clearly now a winning potential car. And he put it down to Strat, the reason why they didn't win last weekend. So I think he's got a good chance of winning. I think the likelihood of any driver other than Max getting 4 on the bounce, and in Canada as well, no, I think he'll be in the fight, but I don't think he'll be there. And I'm saying Russell because I want to see him get his head straight and get back in the game.
Oh, fair enough.
So, yeah. So what did I say? I said Norris, Russell, and then Antonelli. Yeah. Write it down for next time so we don't forget. Right. Okay. Next one, driver of the day. Who do you reckon your driver of the day is likely to be?
Ooh,
overall.
That's a difficult one.
It's an interesting one, though.
Yeah, it always depends on just, well, who votes first and also who did the best job. Because driver of the day isn't always the driver of the day in my eyes. But...
Oh, no, sorry, I meant your driver of the day, not whoever's going to be voted. Yeah, no, who is your driver of the day?
I'd say Max, quite simply.
I am going to say Charles Leclerc because I think they are going to have a minor issue early on and he's going to fight back. So I'll go Charles Leclerc. I'm not basing that on any fact. It's pure fiction, but that's what I'm going to go with. I think early doors, they might have a bit of an issue. Nothing major, something minor, and he's going to have to fight through the field. Could be completely wrong, but I'm going to throw that in just for a creative sake. So
I'm sure Ferrari will watch this and go, we've got a strategy for that.
Well, at least they do now. At least they're actually making a strategy. They've, fingers crossed. If they finally get over this strategy issue after all this time and all of these seasons, it's going to be exciting. It's going to be so exciting. And they need to get some more upgrades as well. They need to be a little bit faster before they get to Monza, because that's 100% speed track. And if they're not on top of that by the time they get home, it's not going to be pretty, is it?
One thing we haven't touched on, the Ferraris don't seem as good on the start anymore. They're still good, but a lot of the teams have actually caught up, which really surprised me.
They have, and it's, well, I kind of said that. I've said that before. I know that was going to happen. I think if we hadn't have had the 5-week break, I think we still would be seeing that a little bit. Because they've obviously had now 2 weekends where they've not had to go to a race. They've not had all of that transport to and fro. 100% of their effort for all of the teams has been able to be focused purely on developing the car. And that's made a hell of a difference. It's going to be an interest from that specific element of this season is really interesting because we've got the summer break coming up as well. So we've got 2 of them. So we're going to have 2 major jumps forward this year. I'm just going to keep my fingers crossed because if Ben actually gets his way and we get V8s back on fully sustainable fuel, so I'm here all day for stuff like that. So I
think it'd shake up the grid again as well because Hamilton trained on the V8s. Alonso won his championship with the V12/V8s. It's going to be amazing. Imagine just all the old boys. If you're over 40, you automatically are 1-2 every time.
Can you imagine if they bring the V8s back and Aston or whoever he goes to makes an absolute rocket ship and he just wins first time out? How glorious would that be? Probably showing my age now, but yeah. That'd be amazing. That really would be amazing. I think we've probably rinsed Miami dry at this point.
Massively. I mean, there wasn't much to talk about anyway.
There wasn't, no. And I'm glad that you said that because I came into this show thinking, I can't just do this to him. I can't take the wind out of his sails. So I'm glad that we're on the same page about this. So, yeah.
The most positive member of the new regulations, trying to find the good points. I can't.
Right, mate. We'll see you next time out. We'll see you soon.
No worries.